Matthew, the film guy, is choosing your streams. Cassavetes on Netflix and other such beams. Maybe you'll watch one and learn a few things. Please recommend me a movie to stream. Matthew, please recommend me a movie to stream. Matthew, film guy.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen,
I'm back.
it has been way too long. Emma Vigeland, Sam Seder on the Majority Report, and joining us is Matthew, film guy. Matthew, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
How long?
Over a year. Over a year. Yeah.
No. Are you serious?
I think it was May of 2024 was my last appearance.
You're kidding.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of shit's gone down since then. So
Yeah.
I understand. Believe me.
Well, I'm sorry. It didn't seem that long, to be honest with you, with all due respect.
Time is a flat circle at this point. A lot of shit's happening.
Yes. What was it that Cernovich said that got him kicked off of InfoWars? Like the
time is delayed.
Time is delayed.
Yeah, time is definitely time.
We are in the singularity now. Matthew, film guy, what have you been up to over the past over a year?
Well, geez, since the last time I saw you, I edited a feature film that's going to be making the festival rounds coming up soon called Act One, directed by Sophia Takal.
Whoa, okay.
And,
Very cool.
Since then, I've honestly just been reading a lot of scripts from my agents, and no projects have landed quite yet. But meanwhile, I've been doing my amazing online film appreciation class, which I don't know if you know, but your sister.
Is it fully online now?
Yes, it's fully online.
I guess it's been that way for the past 5 or 6 years.
Yeah, since the pandemic, we moved to fully online, and that's why I can offer it to every viewer that is listening to the sound of my voice. You can go to the link that's hopefully in the description and join us. We're halfway through the I guess it's the fall session right now, but you can jump on at any time. We watch challenging movies. We watch movies that require a little bit more concentration, a little bit more effort, and then we meet on Tuesdays at noon and have an hour and a half to 2 hour discussion about the movies that I lead.
Well, that's why you're called a Matthew film guy and not Matthew movie guy, even though the alliteration would have been better.
Yeah. I mean, you coined the term, Sam, so I'll go with whatever you decided, but you called me Matthew.
Well, that's why I coined it that way, because you're a film guy. I mean,
right. Cineast guy would have gone too far.
I was gonna say we could have gone Matthew Cineast guy, but that would have been too it just. I don't know how to spell it. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh, Cinematthew would have been.
That's maybe like my wrestling name or something.
Cinematthew Addict.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Matthew Film Guy, it works. It's what my Letterboxd is called. People can follow me on Letterboxd and see all the various movies that I watch and give little capsule.
And your film appreciation class is it's a lot of like boomers, right? I mean,
well, it started out as a
the Greatest Generation. I think it was
extended education class. Yes, that was the original impulse. So there is a healthy proportion of them are of senior citizen age, but they're all extremely
nothing wrong with that. I mean, do we get a discount? Because I'm right on the edge of getting a discount.
Yeah, you know what? If you say that you're you heard about it from the show, you can get the member price.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right, tell us about this movie though before we go. Before you give us some ideas of what we should be watching at this time, tell us about the movie you edited.
It's called Act One. It's about a girl who joins an acting class. She's a high school girl that joins an acting class, and the woman that runs it is somewhat of like a Svengali, and she sort of is putting her at odds with her family. It's kind of an interesting sort of take on the sort of teen drama. It's very weird. It gets sort of esoteric and sort of darkly sexual, I want to say. She starts to sort of push her into these sexual realms. So I don't want to give away too much about it, but it's definitely
typical Hollywood degeneracy.
Yeah, Typical Hollywood tissue. I mean, no, it's definitely an independent film of the highest order, but
Love
yeah, you
That's
can go.
exciting.
Now,
Yeah.
am I ruining OPSEC by saying that you are? I think you're a constituent of Zora Mamdani's. Is that correct?
Yeah, I am actually. Yeah, he is the assembly member. His office is right above my grocery store, so I walk by his office every other day when I go buy some more half and half for my coffee. And actually, there was a protest outside his office a couple months ago that was pretty exciting. It was a bunch of Sliwa supporters chanting, "You're a communist," and "Go back to the Middle East," and all this crazy crap. And so I had to endure that for a second there. But yeah, he's definitely my representative, my assembly member.
All right. Did you watch the debate? I mean, how are you excited for Mamdani or?
I'm totally excited for Mamdani. I'm voting for him as many times as possible. And I didn't watch it live, but I watched a lot of the clips, a lot of the repeats. There's nothing he could say that would make me like him anymore. And there's nothing that Cuomo could say that could make me like him any less. So I didn't necessarily need to watch it live.
There
Well,
you
you
go.
did miss them asking about if they'd ever been to a cannabis dispensary.
Yeah, I saw that clip.
We have that, and Zoran very sheepishly admitted it, although I don't know why in 2025 this is some sort of issue.
I know.
They were
Especially
chanting,
with
"Go
rap.
back to the Middle East." Like, it's really annoying me that people. He's from Uganda,
Right.
and his family is ethnically Indian.
I know. It's
Like-
Split the difference.
It's driving me crazy.
They just
What,
they're-
that the
people
racists don't
genuinely
do their
want
work?
him to
Yeah.
travel. They just
Yeah, they-
genuinely want him to travel, and because
Yeah.
after they said go back to the Middle East, they also said then also visit Ontario.
It's nice
Do
this
you
time.
realize how important Hajj is to your religion?
Yeah, I think that's what they had in mind. The Hajj. Make the Hajj, buddy.
So Matthew, how have you been? Like, how is your state of mind? Like, do you have
I'm
you been?
losing it, bro. I'm losing
Are you losing it?
Yeah, I'm losing it, bro. I mean, listen, I listen to the show practically every day, so I'm well aware of the TikTok of the destruction of this goddamn country.
I'm losing it, bro.
Exactly. That is where I'm at. I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for my ability to consume cinema, I would be absolutely a wreck. You
Yeah.
know, I'm clinging to. I mean, this class, it gives me so much. Honestly, it's not just what I'm giving to the students, what they're giving back to me in terms of an analysis of the state of the emotional, the heart of humanity. I always love quoting the famous quote from Ezra Pound. He said that literature, although I apply it to film, is news that stays news. And it just feels to me like if it wasn't for my ability to explore the deeper realms of human consciousness, I would absolutely be basically standing on a ledge ready to jump.
No matter
Jeez,
how
Matthew, okay, all right, well, hang in there.
But no matter how depressing, like someone said this to me, or maybe I saw it on Twitter, which is even more depressing. But like the idea that even if life gets so bad, there's always a new movie to watch. That's like a good way to look at things.
And honestly, for me,
For
not
now.
not even a new movie, but the whole history of the realm of cinema, which is at our fingertips now in this day and age. You can look at my diary on Letterboxd, and I'm watching things from all over the globe, all over the timeline, from silent movies of the teens to actually a great movie that we just watched in class 2 weeks ago, the latest movie by Mike Lee, which is called Hard Truths. It was just an amazing humanistic portrait of a woman going through anger issues that really it expands your ability to sympathize and to have a conscious connection to your fellow humans. And that's something that I think is missing from politics in general. It's all about beating the other person and domination. Even when you're a partisan for the left, it has this kind of antagonistic tone to it. Whereas the best films are empathy creating machines, putting you in sympathy with your fellow humans, even the ones that are maybe prickly or sort of dark or negative, and that to me it's a lifesaver, believe me.
That's what I felt when I watched the MI7, the final of the Mission Impossible series.
I have yet to get to that. That is on my list. But yeah, listen, I consume the brainless Hollywood entertainment as well. The Marvel movies and so on. So I have a spot in my heart for just disconnecting my conscious brain and enjoying that as well. So I could see you.
I mean, okay, that sounded a little backhanded, but that's okay. I have a 12-year-old. As you know, I have. And
I have an inner 12-year-old, right, that I'm still in connection with. So
Matthew, before you get to suggestions for us as to what we should be watching in this era, which is a pretty unique era in terms of, I think, American, it's somewhat unique in terms of American history. I don't want to overstate it, but in terms of the authoritarianism, I guess it's really more, its victims are more widely distributed. Let's put it that way, or potentially could be. What's the most recent new release that you have watched?
Oh my God. I get so turned off by trying to catch up on the newest movie. So I don't know, the newest movie that I've seen.
The Sting?
No.
A Woman Under the Influence?
Yeah, exactly.
No, that is my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, but no, that's 1974. So that I've seen something newer than that. Actually, it might be Mike Leigh's Hard Truths, which just came out last year. That was a 2024 movie. So it could be actually that one, the one that I just mentioned. I think I also saw this comedy called Friendship. I don't know if you know.
I saw
I saw that.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty dark and twisted. I like that one.
I love that. Yeah.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Paul Rudd, right? And who's that other dude?
Yeah,
Tim Robinson. You didn't
Tim
see One
Robinson.
Battle After Another. We got IMs about it.
No, I have not seen that yet. It's
Is that
not
the Paul Thomas Anderson one?
Yeah, it's not a secret that I'm not the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson fan. I sort of see him as a film school fabulous guy playing with the genre more than making a sort of deep connection to the human condition. But
Emma
there
started
we
kicking
go.
the desk.
I didn't start kicking. I just tapped my foot slightly.
yeah,
Just
but
tapped it.
I've heard how amazing
Blood
the new
coming out of your
movie
nose,
is.
Emma.
Did you see the new Superman movie? Because Emma thought that was great too.
Yes, I did.
By the time I'm done with this career, I don't think I'll like anything anymore.
But I'm not here to dump on anybody's taste, really. I'm here to support what I like and try to be a champion for something different. But I'm not.
But you haven't seen it, but you don't like it preemptively.
No, I didn't. Say that.
Okay.
Honestly,
That's Sam.
The movie of his, Sam put those words in my mouth. I saw that earlier.
You and I share a similar skepticism of Paul Thomas Anderson along those lines. Now, I haven't seen nearly as many of his films. Like I think there was one or two in there. I remember liking Punch Drunk Love, actually.
Yeah, the movie's incredible. I love that movie.
Boogie Nights is incredible. There Will Be Blood is like one of the best movies about American capitalism ever made, arguably.
But it was sort of, I don't know.
None of these movies thrilled me, to be honest. They're impressive on a craft level, and as a technician, I think he's really remarkable and extremely slick. And honestly, give him credit for being more intelligent than the latest Marvel movie and whatever. Thank God we have a guy like him making mainstream movies. So I appreciate him on that level. But honestly, Punch Drunk Love, I didn't. It seems so.
Maybe I thought
to me.
Adam Sandler was actually pretty good in that. I think maybe that was what it was. I mean, I haven't seen it in probably 15 years. So
it's amazing in that. When Adam Sandler wants to be dramatic, it's actually quite good, I would say.
Matthew Film Guy is not having any of this. So
honestly, the movie of Paul Thomas Anderson's, if you want to talk about a movie of his that I love, was The Master. That movie was legitimately weird and legitimately esoteric in a way that I don't think he's ever approached before. It certainly was thematically rich in a way that it didn't make necessarily conceptual sense. Like a lot of his movies are sort of quoting other movies and sort of repackaging other cinematic touchstones. But that one to me felt genuinely, legitimately authentic and sort of reaching for something personal from him that I hadn't seen before. So that one I really loved.
Okay.
Phantom Thread is very personal too, in a way that I thought that was daring. I don't know if you've seen that,
It's my
but
favorite movie.
it's one of my favorites.
Again, it was technically proficient, but I didn't really connect with it, I have to say.
Matthew, so let's get to your picks. But
No, it's
before we do, Andor. Have you watched Andor?
Yes, I have watched Andor.
All right.
Yeah,
What do you think?
yeah.
Awesome, right?
I mean, super cool Star Wars story. I mean, I love the whole.
Hey, why'd you got to do it that way?
Because it is a super cool.
Yeah,
Star
it's
Wars
part of the
movie.
Star Wars franchise, but it really is like it stands on its own.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate the.
You don't need the Star Wars part of it at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, there's no force using, there's no lightsabers, so it sort of avoids all of that sort of side of the world. So yeah, no, I didn't mean to denigrate it. It's just I'm telling you how I feel.
Okay, all right. Well, say how you feel. I got thrown off when you said Star Wars.
I appreciate its sort of fascist storytelling and the sort of
anti-fascist.
Anti-fascist. Yeah, showing how they lure everybody into the square and then they start shooting them. Not to be a
dude.
spoiler.
What the heck?
Hey, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm sorry, but it's a great it's a great sort of metaphor for our current time. So I give him credit for being able to produce such a thing at Disney. So that to me is a value.
I think it's a good. I like you know me. I like a sci-fi that it has like some type of interior stuff going on.
Yeah, like Battlestar Galactica.
Like Battlestar Galactica. Thank you, Matthew.
Everybody's
I appreciate you remembering that.
Yeah.
All right, so Matthew, now for what everybody has been waiting for, while we go on all of these detours and distractions, what movie? I should tell people this. You are one of the first guests on the show, probably 15 or 16 years ago. And the idea was my kids were much younger at that time, and I could never go out to see a movie. It turns out I still don't go out to see movies, but I could never go out. And they had this newfangled thing called streaming by Netflix. And so, and then of course, over the years, we were able to see DVDs and stuff like that. Do you still get like Criterion DVDs or no? Or do you all streaming? Okay. Yeah. Interesting. No Blu-ray disc.
Occasionally, a filmmaker will have a Kickstarter that'll help them fund an independent film. Like Hal Hartley just had an independent Kickstarter to fund his new film, so I bought that Blu-ray that way. So the rare occasion do I buy a Blu-ray.
Okay, and so you would give suggestions. What do you suggest that folks watch that is relevant in this era?
Okay, now I just spoke about how I'm watching all these films that uplift the human soul. So I'm going to make a left turn here and talk about a movie that is extremely dark and challenging to watch. It's a movie from 2012 called The Act of Killing. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's a documentary. I don't know if anyone here has seen it, but we watched it in class. It's streaming on Peacock. And I recommend you watch the full-length version. There's a truncated version that they had to cut down for domestic audiences here in America. But the full-length version, it's about 2 hours and 40 minutes. But it's an absolute mind fuck of a movie. It's basically following two of the murderers of the Indonesian communist purge of the mid 1960s. In modern day times, and the filmmaker has sort of, in a kind of Sacha Baron Cohen-esque way, tricked them into recreating the actual murders that they've committed. So they're staging them as these big cinematic tableaus, and they're making references to all these other movies like gangster movies and westerns, and it's this surrealistic sort of mix of celebrating they go through town and they try to cast people to play the communists, and they're all super scared because the current atmosphere, at least in 2012 in Indonesia, was such that anyone even associated with communism was absolutely feared for their lives. And basically, I don't know if you know the story, but in Indonesia in the 1960s, there was this huge mass murder. It could be up to 1 million people were killed under the guise of fighting communism. And they use these gangsters, basically. And the main character in this movie is this guy, Anwar Congo. And he's now this older grandpa kind of guy. And he's still venerated as this hero of this purge. And his sidekick is this guy, Herman Kato, who's a current gangster. And he's in this group called the Pancasila Youth, which is basically a paramilitary group that was instrumental in carrying out these murders. And it's just a remarkable look into the psychology of this guy, because everywhere he goes, people are like, oh, you're this great hero, you did this stuff. And he's actually recreating these murders, and he slowly, very slowly starts to feel some remorse. And it's very twisted, the way he starts to understand the violence that he enacted. And it just, I can't describe how surreal it is, because they put them into these tableaus where they're like dressed up like movie gangsters. The original name for these guys were the movie gangsters. They actually called them movie gangsters because they started out hanging out outside movie theaters and selling bootleg tickets, scalping tickets. And they got hired to basically be these thugs, these, sanctioned murderers. And he demonstrates how he chokes them. He said, hey, I used to beat them in the head, but there was too much blood. Then I figured out, I learned in the movies that I could choke them with a wire, and he demonstrates it. It's absolutely horrific, the way you're asked to sort of enter into the mind of this murderer. And it actually is a wide picture of the entire system, because they go through all these other different officials. There's the governor of North Sumatra that they interview. There's a newspaper publisher who was part of the killing pipeline. He would sort of rat on people and call them out. And people are giving these speeches about how we need gangsters. Gangsters are what keep this country free, and God hates communists. And one of the major scenes is they go on this talk show, because apparently word got out that they're remaking this movie, which is depicting the heroic acts of murder of all these communists. And they go on this talk show, and the talk show host is going, oh, he made a good way of killing communists. He's such a hero. And it's like, it's so chilling to see the sort of end result. And this is what I sort of relate to what we're going through now, the end result of naked, absolute authoritarian violence, and the sanctioning of violence, similar to what we're seeing with ICE, but on a much more overt level, of these paramilitary sanctioned gangsters just enacting the political will of the majority and just killing anyone who's even associated with being a communist or a trade unionist or a leftist of any kind. And it's absolutely still reverberating till today, the effects of this extreme purge. And this documentary is just so, he gets such access to these people, and they're sort of proud of what they did. And they're going around sort of being celebrated by the local populace. Some of them you can see are very afraid of these people. But there's all these...
Sounds like a perfect movie for me to watch with my son.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely watch it with the family, get a big bowl of popcorn, pull up a blanket, and cuddle up with this movie. No,
it does sound
there is going to
fascinating,
be...
though.
That sounds. I remember hearing about that film, and it was either in the conversation for Oscar documentary or something like that. Like, it was getting awards buzz at the time. And what it is, when Sam and I went to that Zateo documentary like a year ago, right? It was obviously it was a short. I don't think it was a full length feature, but it's similar territory of like Zateo. Interviewed a lot of basically Israeli soldiers about the crimes that they had committed. And like, it just, when you're describing this, of course, all I can think about is the genocide in Gaza too, and what future documentarians are going to have endless footage to choose from to see people explain their crimes in chilling detail. But the intimacy of what you're saying might be even harder to find as well, where you see somebody eventually start to have a bit of remorse. Like that's cinematic in a way that we may not even have with this genocide.
I mean, this is going back, 60 years. So it's a sort of, there's maybe enough time for this guy, at the end of the movie, this isn't necessarily spoiling anything, but at the end of the movie, he's watching footage and the filmmaker films the guy watching footage that they shot of him in this movie set sort of world where they think they're making a movie. He tells them we're making a movie celebrating what you did, but obviously he's peeling the layers back on what he did. Wow. And he's watching the footage of it, and he says to his grandson, "Come here, watch Grandpa getting choked. Watch Grandpa, watch." And the filmmaker's like, "Should he be watching that?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's fine." And then that's when he starts to sort of choke up and sort of realize, like, "Oh, now I understand what they went through." And the filmmaker says, "Well, you don't really understand what they went through because they were actually going to die. It's a movie." So it's such a twisted sort of extremely complicated foray into this man's psychology that I cannot recommend any more highly, but it definitely is a challenging watch. It's not necessarily a relaxing watch, but it's a warning for where we could be headed. Actually, that's how I took it too.
Matthew, Film Guy, great recommendation. I'm going to put it on my list. I have 10, 12 years of lists of movies of yours that I got to catch up on, but I'm getting there. I'm getting close. Kids,
okay,
the kid's going to age out of this era of action films all the time. So
by the time you get to this movie, he should be old enough to appreciate it.
Wonderful. Matthew, Film Guy, always a pleasure. We got to do this again soon.
Definitely, Sam. Thank you, guys. Great to talk to you.
Great to talk to you.
Hey, folks, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and check out our daily show. We do it every day at 12 p.m. Eastern for about 2.5 hours. We even take phone calls. You should check that out.